2021. I've looked forward to this show for a while because I had last year, ending 2020, and then like the perfect person who I knew was doing so many great things when it comes to money, the one and only Tonice Cooper. I'm like, she has to talk to you, but there's so much going on. So before I even get into this talk, and we get really, really present because of the state of our country at this moment, we literally have made monumental voter election history locally across the state of Georgia. We are celebrating a Savannah native literally becoming the first Black man ever did you ever in the state of Georgia. And the quote always that you can go anywhere from Savannah, truly that promise, right? Understanding that the power of what is happening right here in our local community, every single local advocate, voting advocate, people that have driven people to the polls, people that stood in line for unprecedented numbers, people who were making sure that people who did not speak English got out to vote. I could keep going on and on and on. Organizers, artists, you name it, at the unity for democracy. And I think that it is so important to remember that that's how much democracy, that's how much that truth matters, that literally people would fight it and attempt to suppress it. And this is a high level of accountability and leadership that we are all looking to, and what we're currently seeing unfolding at what's happened at our nation's capital today. No matter your party, those are men and women, mothers and fathers, service professionals across the board. And it's so important to think about the example and what we're saying to future generations through our behavior and through our actions, and what we want to be known for, not just as a country, but on a global level, as people are watching us at this moment, what it looks like. So I had a struggle of doing this show this afternoon and coming on the air because I want to be really mindful of what is going on. I also want to recognize and honor the history and show the good and the gratitude, because progress, there's always struggle when there's progress, and there's never not been a time that it's like that, but there's been so much progress made. So, all right, let me, thank you for tuning in, by the way. If I haven't introduced myself, my name is Mia Mance, owner of Mia Talks Media. You guys, we are in season 3 of phenomenal talks with people who are making a difference. They're making the world better. If you've missed past talks, www.miatalks.com. These talks are powered by amazing companies, the David Pence Allstate insurance team. Shout out to Tammy Toller, who just celebrated her 1-year anniversary with the David Pence team. Angela, David Pence, his wife, Michelle, who celebrated a birthday recently. You can reach out to their team. They always talk about, as we're about to do a financial fitness checkup this afternoon, doing an insurance checkup. You're driving maybe more or less. Someone's gotten a new car. You're buying a new house, whatever. Do an insurance checkup. As Tonice is going to say, figure out all the ways to save money. So check in with them. And then the one and only fresh off the dock seafood. One of my favorite things to do to support local businesses right now is to place that local order, go in, get a pickup. Fresh off the dock seafood will bring everything to you. Crab legs, shrimp, scallops, put it all in the garlic butter with the Cajun seasoning, just so I can make you hungry. Low country boil, you name it. They also do a seafood Sunday every single Sunday on Hilton Head Island. And if you are in the restaurant and the service industry, they're also hiring for their team at 843-304-2055. Tonice, when I say we've got Carolyn checking in, Sheena's checking in, Tina checking in. I am so excited, Tonice, to take on this show, because when we talk about financial fitness, it is one of the most uncomfortable topics for most people to talk about their money. There is a true wealth gap when you look at the Black community versus economics in other communities. And truly, when it comes to having long-term power, generational wealth, it starts with what's going on with your money at this exact moment. So without further ado, we're going to get real with our finances. Look, let me put this up. Tonice, we have this thing. Yes. Put your planner up there, Tonice. You can buy this from Tonice. All of $25. This is like Jay-Z had the blueprint. This is the financial blueprint to take you through this year. So I purchased my own, and I'm not going to put anything in front of you that I'm not going to say. I'm willing to walk in and talk it. So without further ado, Denise Cooper, tell everybody who you are and how you got into helping people with their financial fitness, please.
Well, I'm Tonice Cooper, and Mia, what happened was I needed help myself. So I needed to improve my credit. I wanted to create the habit of saving. And just a couple of years ago, that's what I did. And I worked on my own credit history and credit profile and start learning all this information. I was like, you know what? This needs to be shared, and it need to be shared in such a way that people can relate. And I think that was an issue for me. I will always talk to I guess financial advisors, and it was always stuff like over the head, like, girl, listen, or sir, I'm not even understanding anything you're saying. So as I increase my knowledge, I said, this is what I think I'm going to do. So everyone that I come across that want to talk about their finances, we can do so from a place of empathy and not a place from shame. And I think a lot of time that keep people from want to share what they have going on as far as their finances. And that's what we do at Vantage Point Credit Solutions. We're here to empower the people with information and provide them with the tools and resources necessary to increase their financial literacy and their credit education.
So I think it's important, Tonice, you said something that I feel like freed everyone, that they might meet with a financial advisor and it sounds like they're speaking a different language. The IRA of the S,
what?
of the Roth, of the where, of the who, of the what tax penalties. And I feel like just because you and I are friends, also you really need someone you can trust 100% when you're looking at the plans that you have for your family, like your retirement age, how much you need to earn to get out of debt, your financial priorities. So let's talk about the real of the economic challenges that most Americans are facing right now, please, Tonice.
I would say that would be the overwhelming amount of debt. Okay. Debt on top of debt on top of debt, but then there's not enough income to cover the debt. So that would be the first thing, and then a lack of savings. So when something pops up, some emergency happens, and you don't have it, you're going out to get a loan or you max out a credit card. And that's just building the hole that you're already in deeper. You dig in a deeper hole. So, that would be the major issues that I see, but then you got it's a whole list of things. You got the rising cost of healthcare, inflation, all of that.
So let's start with debt.
Okay.
What's the average amount of debt that we're carrying? Typically, is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? What's the average household financial in debt? And I'm talking about negative debt, not positive debt. It's in terms of like your house or properties or real estate.
It varies, Mia. I would say probably anything over 50,000 or more. Wow. You got to think about student loans too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I married a lawyer. Look. That's a whole house payment right there.
Yeah. So
student loans. You know, I always, when I see people post that they paid off their student loans, I always go, how do they do that? How do they do that, Tonice? How do they pay? I want to pay off my student loans in 2021.
The same way you eat an elephant.
Okay, so what is something I can do this afternoon, this month, to start taking a chunk out of those student loans?
Well, the first thing would be starting to know exactly what your debt looked like, okay? Because a lot of people don't even know exactly what that looked like. So once you write out a plan and you can see, okay, exactly what you have going out versus what you have coming in, and then you just say, okay, well, this is what the student loan is. This is what I can do affordably every month. Then they need to call the student loan company, let them know, work out a payment plan, and just do it as, you know, make your payments as best as you can. And then anything extra you can do, you want to apply it to the loan as well.
Have you heard, and y'all that are watching, about the refinancing your student loans option? Is that a smart option or not? I've been hit with that a lot, and I've not, because my student loans are still at a very, very, very low interest rate.
Okay.
But is that ever helpful to refinance your student loans?
Definitely. It depends on, like you say, your interest rate, right? Okay. So if it's going to benefit you and the interest rate is lower, depending on who you refinancing with, you definitely want to do that. That'll save you money over time. And yeah, it's great to go ahead and consolidate them loans so you have that one payment versus several payments. Because 9 times out of 10, most folks have more than 5 student loans, depending on the level of degree that they have. So instead of trying to, you know, rack your brain, okay, how I'm going to make all these payments, that would be the best thing to do, is to consolidate those payments, those loans, to have that one payment.
Okay, now you said we should make a list of what's coming in and what's going out when it comes to debt. I'm going to assume you would want us to pull all of our credit reports as well. Are you a supporter? Are you a supporter of doing the whole 3 at one time? Is there a credit bureau that you prefer that's more accurate? What's your plan when it comes to us knowing what's going on with our credit?
Okay, so the first thing you want to do, you want to get a report from each of the credit bureaus. There's 3 major credit bureaus. You have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. So you want to know, because they're individually owned and operated. So you want to know, are they reporting the same thing? Because sometimes they don't. You know, you may have one debt or bill or collection that's on 1 or 2 of the reports and not the 3rd report. So you definitely want to get a view of which each one of them are reporting. That's the first thing you go. And I would suggest you go to annualcreditreport.com. It's free. You can actually get a free report weekly now because of the pandemic.
What? A free weekly report?
Yeah,
from annualcreditreport.com?
Yes.
Who knew that?
And that's until April. Normally you get a free report yearly, but because of what's going on with the pandemic, you know, folks are making arrangements with creditors. Creditors are not supposed to be, you know, some, depending on who's covered under the CARES Act, are not supposed to be reporting. So that way you can keep up with what's actually going on. So that's a good thing to take advantage of right now.
That's huge. So annualcreditreport.com, free weekly credit reports until April, and then obviously annually. Now I've run all of my credit reports and I look at it, Tonice, and there's something on there that's not mine. What do I do?
So you want to dispute it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to write a dispute letter to that credit bureau, letting them know, hey, this is not my debt here. I need this removed. And that's going to launch an investigation. The credit bureau is going to reach out to that creditor, and they're going to have to prove that it is yours. And if they can't prove it, then it has to be removed.
How long does it take to be removed from my credit once I start to address it typically?
So typically, the creditors have by law 30 days to respond. So usually between 45 to 60 days, you should get a response or updated credit report from the credit bureau that you wrote to.
Okay. Yeah. Do we know anytime something like that's on our credit, how much that affects our credit score?
Well, listen, if you don't even know, some folks don't have never pulled their credit report. So if you don't even know that it's on there, then how would you know unless you look into it? It's okay to have your credit report pulled so you can see exactly what's going on, and that especially with so much identity theft that's going on.
Yeah. The second thing that you mentioned is one, you started with being aware of your debt. Two, income. Would you advise us, if we are looking to get out of debt, to either get another job, have a side hustle to help pay off that debt? What are some of those ways to generate more income to accomplish that getting out of debt?
Listen, all of the above. By any means necessary. If you need to do a part-time job, I'm an advocate for starting your own business if you can. Any extra income, you need to go in those closets, clean the closets out. Sell that stuff on
Poshmark. Okay. Yeah.
Print out your bank statements for the last 3 months. Highlight those items that are not needs but were wants. How many times did you eat out in 1 week? All that money that you're spending on those wants, just stop it for a few months. That extra money can help you pay off that debt quicker than, sooner than later.
So it's interesting because you also talked about having savings for emergency. And I am a Dave Ramsey subscriber who says you should have about $1,000 minimum in your savings account at any time for emergencies. Is that the same set amount? I mean, and everyone, obviously, you have retirement savings, you have your 401k, but what's a base, especially we're just coming out of the holidays too, right? Like what's a base savings people should work with as a goal to keep in their account, Tonice?
So, I love Dave Ramsey also. We start at 1,000 for emergencies, right? Until you pay off all that debt. And then you come back, you fully fund your emergency fund, like 3 to 6 months of your
expenses.
Right. So yeah, the $1,000 is just a baseline to get started. But of course, the more the better.
So 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So from house notes, car notes, anything related to kids, school, healthcare, you name it. Now, what do you say to people who have thousands of dollars in medical bills? Like they're just sitting under a bunch of medical debt. What can they do to start to tackle that?
Mia, listen, I would say, from my personal experience, you have to call the hospitals. It's programs out there that you may not be aware of that can actually help you with that. A lot of that debt can be written off at the hospital at that level. You won't know unless you ask. Other than that, you can do the best you can, just making those payments, make those payment plans. But the one thing that we must do is stay in constant communication with your creditor. And that will sometimes just help a lot of stuff from being reported to your credit. You keep that line of open communication.
Should you ask your credit card companies for a reduction in interest rate? Do they ever do reduction in interest rate on your cards?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, you're in good standing with this credit card company. You give them a call. Listen, I've been a customer for X amount of time. I've never missed a payment. I pay on time every month. And I would like a courtesy reduction in my interest rate. It's just as simple as that.
Okay. So I feel like you just knocked out a bunch of tips. Starting with how to get your credit report every single week right now, to looking at different ways to generate income, to having those conversations. I think that's really, really important with your creditors, just so they know the status of your account. Looking at student loan refinancing. Let's get into the $5,000 easy savings plan. When I saw the $5,000 easy savings plan in this book, it's really that easy. You don't even feel like you are going without. Break down the $5,000 in 52 weeks for me, please.
So the idea with this is it's just simply to give folks a guide or plan, just like a starter kit, to say the least. just to create that habit of saving. Each payment, I would say, is affordable. You have some plans out there that require more each week, but I try to keep the payments as less than $200 to keep it affordable for folks and make it doable. You want a plan that everybody can succeed with. So that was the idea for the 5,052 weeks, Mia.
In 52 weeks. It's literally called the easiest savings plan ever. I've also put up your contact information. So if people want to get on this financial planner with us, all they have to do is reach out to you. Again, Vantage Point Credit Solutions.com, and they can check out the 5,000.
Now, this is just a suggestion and a guide. If they want to save more, they definitely can.
We should save more. You never know what's coming. I think that especially, like you said, with healthcare and just different emergencies, it's really hard to navigate when or what in life is going to happen, to you or to your family. I know a lot of people that are watching, because I had somebody text me this morning, I paid off one of my credit cards, and they're super pumped because it's a new year. Let's pay down debt. That's on one of my own goals for 2021 as well. Walk me through, I'm a client of yours, 5 things to do to get rid of my debt in this next year.
To get rid of the debt?
Yeah.
I would say definitely know everything that you have that you owe out. Number one, you got to know what's going on with your with your debt. Number 2, I would say increase your income, find another stream of income, like we said earlier. And if you have to call, if it's already a debt that's behind, call the creditor, make a payment plan that you can, actually stick to. And just, you have to create a plan, make a plan, set goals and stick to it, basically, Mia.
Tell me how, from getting that debt down or reduced, how that leverages me in terms of real estate or my own credit or my credit for my business as well. What are some of the things, once you've got that debt under control, that it opens you up to and opens you up for?
Oh, endless possibilities, Of course, when you get ready to go buy a home, they're going to look at your debt to income ratio to qualify you on how much of a home that you can afford. So if you depending on what your goals are concerning your home, you want to have as less debt as possible. Of course, I have a team of people that I can refer you to, when it comes to, real estate and, of course, becoming a homeowner. So that's not my lane, but that's definitely the gateway. I'm the gateway to your home ownership.
Well, and I think that's wealth, right? So when we talk about going from deficit into wealth building, real estate continues to be one of those places where you really have the opportunity to amass wealth, right? And be able to pass that on if that's what you choose to do, or use it as passive income, as a rental property. So there's a lot of things when we look at it, and depending upon, I'm not sure what the market's going to look like for 2021, but I know obviously last year the interest rates were slashed so low. So you saw a lot of people either buying a home or refinancing, to save some money. Are you, and this is just me asking you this, are you a fan of people taking equity loans out against their house? Would you recommend that? Or do you think if it's paid for, just let it be?
Now this is just my personal.
Just your opinion. Yeah.
If that's what they have to do, then by all means. But if they don't have to, I wouldn't. I've been in a situation like that before with my first home that I owned, and we did that. So we had to. It became to one point where we had to refinance to get rid of that equity line of credit. Just to go back to having that one payment, because it's an additional payment. It's additional debt. And that's the goal, not to have all the unnecessary debt. So it just depends on what someone has going on.
What about, I've heard about people taking loans against their 401k. Have you heard of that? Where
Oh
people,
yeah, well, during the time of COVID, this is the time to do it because it's without penalty.
okay.
So, yeah, I mean, if you have it, and then again,
I didn't know that. So there's no penalty right now during COVID?
You have some, and I'm not a financial advisor.
No, but I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that.
But I do know that. I know that I would say, if you have it in your 401k and you have a lot of debt, there's no need to struggle when you can take out the $5,000 you need to get rid of the debt without penalty. Now is the time to do that.
Okay.
I had someone tell me, that's how she bought her car. She got it out of her 401k, and she's very, oh my gosh, you talking about great with money. She's definitely great with money. And she said, because it was no penalty, she got her money, paid for her car. And for her, that was a good move, instead of having that car note. It just depends on how much you have to be able to do that.
Yeah. And so car notes, I'm a big believer in paying off your car, not telling anybody what to do. Right.
Right. Not buying brand new cars, because as soon as you drive off the lot, it depreciates.
I don't have a brand new car. So I feel like, just figuring out ways that you can free up your money, like you were saying. So being able to go, okay, housing, cars, and especially, I mean, thank goodness that you've got the stimulus support that's coming in, and you've got some hopefully adjustments, because I think the expensive housing is breaking Americans right now. So I can only imagine, if housing's a challenge, then groceries, everything else becomes just a challenge, every single month for families.
Right.
You discussed getting an additional, potentially generating income in different ways. What are some other things, Tonice, that you would go, this is the best practice? Don't have a car, don't have a car payment if you don't have to. You talked about higher interest loans, predatory lending, 100%, 50%, 75%, 500% loans that will literally keep you. And I'm just going to be honest on this show. So y'all, radio, you don't make a lot of money in radio. I love my job. I can remember there was a time, because I feel like most people, they're constantly trying to figure it out, right?
Right.
And I remember getting a payday loan. Don't ever do that. And the cycle's bad. And it's called predatory lending exactly because of what it is. So I think understanding why you might go, this is the thing I can do until I get to this next payday, which was really the logic I had in my head, right? The cycle, and the same with credit card debt, where once you keep going and going and going, it feels like it's a never ending spiral that you're in.
Right. And you have to work on removing yourself from being in that position to have a payday loan or a predatory, type loan, especially with the vehicles, and that's from not having good credit, period. If you have good credit, a great credit score, then that will remove you from, the 30%, 29% car interest rates, and that's the first thing. You just have to work on your credit.
Well, and I think what you're sharing with us, Tonice, is so cool, because there's no shame and there's no judgment. And you're right. I'm looking back and I'm trying to think. I feel like I remember I had, I don't know, the first car I actually bought? I had some stupid high interest rate. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, I look back on it now, but like you said, it's either you could be completely young and be a risk because you have no credit. I can say that maybe you've carried someone else's bad credit. I mean, I feel like, so let's say that you have previous marriages or relationships where maybe you guys shared credit. I think that's the thing that you have to get resolved too, where
I have a lot of clients that come, that are just because of divorce, their credit took a hit. So they have to, basically start from the beginning. And we just, the company pulls up and see what they have going on in the credit report. We try to dispute everything that's, negative and see what we can get to come off, and also have them to call the creditors to work out payment plans, to rebuild. But one thing for sure, and two things for certain, Mia, there's still life after every divorce, after every bankruptcy, after every foreclosure. Credit is not a death sentence. It's not final. So you definitely can come back from it.
So go there for me for a second. So if someone is debating between, okay, I can tackle all of this debt, or I might file for bankruptcy, is that ever and again, you're not a financial advisor. You are here for Vantage Point Credit Solutions. But is bankruptcy sometimes just a realistic solution for people who have to go, okay, this is what I need to do to even be able to get ahead?
For some, yes, but before someone makes that decision, it would really be to their best advantage to talk with a financial advisor, credit consultant like myself, someone to actually look and see what you have going on, because the bankruptcy attorneys are there to make money. So they're not going to say, well, you're just 25 years old and you got, this amount of debt. That $20,000 might seem like a whole lot for that 25-year-old, but someone else that doesn't have, I guess, money in the end game to be made will say, you know what? No, baby, we can work this out. You don't have to file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is not a form of credit repair. Just want to put that out there. It's not a form of credit repair. So you don't have to do this. But that bankruptcy definitely will hit the credit, and it would be worse than what that collection account actually would be. So you can redeem yourself quicker from a collections than you can from bankruptcy.
Such good stuff. I feel like we could talk all day. And actually, y'all can talk to her directly. If you look on the screen right now, VantagePointCreditSolutions.com. You can also follow her on social media, and she's going to give you different tips, and you can see what she's doing. I love, and I'm just, again, in your financial planner. So you have listing of your goals. I feel like, so you look at the year ahead, and you go, here are all my goals, whatever those goals might be. You want to get promoted. You always hear people say they want to make more money, stuff like that. Well, now, okay, let's say you do get more money in 2021, how you can go about accomplishing your financial goals. So let's just talk about for a second, Tonice, what are some of the things now on your side that you wish you'd know when you were 18, just getting to work, and obviously you have a family, you're a mommy, you're a grandmommy. Something, and I'll say this is very basic for, for me, again, my car is paid for. I've not had a car payment. I try my hardest not to. And that doesn't mean, it's not that people having really nice cars is not awesome. Right. But I think, to be real, I think more about retirement now. And I think more about, because my husband's a business owner, if something happens to him or something like that, we have to have different plans to because you don't know what's coming at, with you at life, or having older parents. So, having to look at making sure that their wills and all of their businesses are straight, pending if something were to happen to them. So it's that's kind of where my brain is in terms of what my priorities are. But what would you say, you're just coming out into the world, your priority should be in finding a trusted source that's not going to say, go blow your money on everything. I think the pressure's hard. I think the social media pressure's hard if everyone's got Birkin bags, and I don't know anyone with a Birkin bag personally.
Listen, keep the Birkin bag and give me a building. How about that?
No. So this is really cool. Like, you could have a rental property for like 3 Birkin bags. But I feel like that's the norm, right? Because obviously they're like, it's just, I remember over Twitter seeing the most stupid debate about like Coach versus Birkin. And I'm like, oh my God, who's leading the narrative on where you should be spending your money? Ownership. You nailed it. Ownership, because all of that you can pass on. So anyways, knock out those lessons for me. Go for it. What would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, I would tell my younger self to definitely save, every opportunity that I could. Definitely don't spend more than I make. I would tell my younger self to start a Roth IRA, because now today, girl, I would have been straight. Okay.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Just getting into investing earlier, than later, because you have more the time on your side. I would tell my younger self to, that first property you bought, that first home you bought, keep it, pay it off. It would have been paid off by now. I would have definitely tell my younger self to not create the debt from the jump. If I don't have cash to pay it off, I don't need it. Just wait, have a savings goal for whatever it is I wanted to buy. If I wanted a different car, a newer car, how much do I want to spend on it? Save that up first. Pay that car off, like you said. Keep that at a low time minimum. Credit cards, 1 or 2 major credit cards, you can go anywhere with it. That's it. I remember it was a time I had everybody's credit card, right? All the department stores. You don't need that. You don't have to do that. 1 or 2 major credit cards, and keep the balances below 30%.
Okay, hold on. Gosh, you've just broken down 2 major lessons. Okay. Never have shoes or clothes or things that you're still paying off via credit card that you don't even know where they are, or you not even touch them, because that's so. That's my first year at Spelman. I can feel like I had, if anybody is like Old South, Riches, right? There was like Riches card. There was a Macy's. Anyways, so yes, so that was
Parisian. You remember Parisian?
Oh my God. All right, but go here. That's okay. The credit hack of, if you are going to carry your credit cards, 30% or less of your balance in order to protect your credit score and keeping your interest rates low for future purchases. Can you just explain that to people, how that little bit of math works for me?
So 30% of your balance. So if you're, say for instance, for easy math, your credit limit is $1,000. You want to keep your running balance below the $300. The lower, the better. Okay. And then also, say for instance, you charge something for $500. You have to know what your cycle date is. As opposed
what is the cycle date? What does that mean, Denise?
The cycle date is going to be the date where your balance that you're carrying is going to be actually reported on your statement that you're going to have. So that's the balance that's going to go to the credit report. So if if you got something going on and you got to make this purchase today, but your cycle date is not until the 15th, you have before the 15th to pay that card back. You'll pay that balance down, but back below the 30% before the end of your cycle date. So you will be still, when it reports, it's still below the 30%.
That's amazing. Never knew that the cycle date was a way to continue to keep your balance low and continue to keep your credit at the place you want it to be without it reporting a higher balance. Dude, that's good.
Right. Get those statements out. Read those statements. Look at the different dates. And try to pay it. You want to pay it even before the due date. You want to pay it. Mm-hmm.
So I would say when I was working to either reestablish my credit, and I had some different things, and it depends. I feel like I've shared this on a show, but I had someone use my credit when I was way young, and so I did not learn most of this until I was at Spelman. And I remember, I think I went to file my taxes for the first time, and I remember my wages getting garnished, and that led me into a deep dive into what you're talking about with credit repair and pulling your credit and having to go through all this paperwork and getting that cleared and challenging it. And I will say this, you guys, it takes time. It's well worth it. I remember then someone saying, get a little secured credit card, right? Just a very small amount that you can pay on or that you can pay into. And if you carry that, and I still have that card to this day, like I don't put anything on it, but it was the one thing that really allowed me to establish credit. And, a lot of times people see, like the scam signs, like $99, clear your credit, clear your credit. I'm not about telling people there's a quick, easy fix. I know, Tonice, you're going to say the same thing. It really is about looking at what you're working with, knowing what's yours and what's not yours. If you see something, as you've heard Tonice say, that's not yours, doing the hard work of identity, fraud, whatever, and to keep putting in that work for it. It might take time. It might take a year. It might take 90 days for it to come off. But in the long term, at least at all times what's going on with your financial status. And I know it's easy to kind of go, I don't want to think about it because I've got so much on me, or like you were saying, Tonice, too, to just charge it. And especially in the days, oh my God, when we could go anywhere we wanted to, think about that. I'm going to travel here. I'm going to go here.
Right. Don't you miss that? Like, but I want to talk about that.
It's a life, right? Where you were so used to, okay, I'm just going to put this trip on my card or go here, and everything. You have to have a budget for everything. I mean, that's a real conversation, just having your budget, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Let's go back to, there's good and bad in everything. There's good and bad in all different types of companies. So you have to do your due diligence, okay? You want to do your research, talk to the individuals. If you got someone you can call and reach out to and they're going to answer your call, then 9 times out of 10, that's a legit company. If you got somebody that's ghosting you, then you need to be aware. Now with the credit repair service, it's for those that either you don't have the know-how or you don't have the time, just don't want you, or you just want someone that's in that profession that can help you and walk you through the process. Pay for the service. Just like you want to get your hair done, you can comb your hair at home. You pay for what you want. You can cook at home, Mia, but you still will go to that restaurant. I've said that before on my page before. It's a preference, a personal preference. But in my planner, because I have folks come like, I really don't want to pay for a service. What can I do? I don't have a problem sharing and helping them do it on their own, So that's why I put it in the plan. I have credit repair tips that you can do it yourself. But the thing is with that, if you're not consistent, okay, and you drop the ball, you're not going to see the results. Whereas when you have a company like mine, okay, you're going to get the results that you're looking for if you put in the work.
So that's a perfect segue. Hi, Miss Kissy of Fresh Off the Dock Seafood, hanging out with us, and Rebecca and Patricia. So many people tuning in this afternoon with such great information from you, Tonice. They can book an appointment by visiting VantagePointCreditSolutions.com. Also following Tonice's company, Vantage Point Credit Solutions, on Facebook and on Instagram at VP Credit Advice. I do encourage you, if you missed any of the tips and information, the breakdown of how to take on the debt monster, your healthcare bills, getting honest with your debt to income. Please replay this from the beginning, and then also share this conversation, because when you look at, we started the conversation about talking about wealth in the Black community. Typically, our household wealth income has been negative. Like, you look at in comparison to other communities that have $10,000 plus, $100,000 plus. Well, the other things, and we have to be very honest about systemic banking challenges, financing, predatory lending. But the other thing is just having a tool belt, right? So if you have a tool belt of, I know I want to own this many properties. I want to retire at 55. I want to leave my kids. I'm a Eric Thomas list. I swear by Eric Thomas. And in his podcast, one of his guys, I think his name is Jamal, he talks every single day about like life insurance and all these things, just so his kids, grandkids can be straight. And I say this because financial freedom also serves as a way to protect you should a job change happen, should something happen, that you know that your household, when we're talking about having 3 to 6 months of expenses, that your household's going to make it. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. That's not, if don't beat yourself up over that, that's the reality of most people. And also, don't live for other people. So if you are around people that make you spend, live beyond your means, influence, make you feel like I've got to keep up, you don't. Please be free of all of that. But as you heard Tonice say, get with people who are going to take an honest, hard look. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I did it before the first of the year started, went through all the numbers, got on the phone. Here's where I'm at. This is the goal. This is where we're going to get to.
Right.
Because then you have accountability partners. You have someone like Tonice saying, hey, you can do this. Look at this. You don't need to keep throwing money out there. And it's not, there's nothing wrong if you have it to do it. But also, I think it's honoring yourself when you honor your money. And it's being able to go, where's this getting me? Is this getting me closer to the type of family and the generational wealth that I want? Or is it pulling me further into a trap of debt that I can never get out of?
Right, definitely.
How you feeling over there, Tonice? Let me read these comments as people are negative. Hi, Elizabeth from 5 Mile Farmer Market. Great information. Victoria, wonderful information. Rebecca, wonderful information. I think I appreciate you just being so real and so honest about taking a look back at spending less, saving more, save more, save more. There's never going to be someone that says don't save more.
Right.
The Roth IRA, checking out your 401k if it can help you to knock out some other things that might be on your shoulders, and talking to people. How do you want to close it out before we get ready to close it out? What do you want to tell everybody who's watching us right now?
Just, hey, go to my website, book a free consultation with me. Let's talk, see where I can help you, and go and purchase the planner. Also, in the planner, I've listed those things in there, the credit tips, is the savings information in there. We have the financial goals, and that list that you showed earlier. What it does is sometimes it's some things that we don't be thinking about, when it comes to investing, and saving and debt and money management, earning more money, retirement. And another thing too, also, a lot of wealth is built, Mia, from life insurance. It wasn't that the great-great-great-granddaddy had so much liquid capital, or he was so rich. He just had a lot in policy and in his policies, and he left that for the generations to come. And that family carried on that tradition. So that's how they did that wealth thing. Life insurance. Listen, get covered. What my girl Nikki say, get covered.
This is so good, y'all. Watch it again, share it. know that we are cheering you on, and we want you to win, and we want you to be successful. And just like we get everything else done, we go to the doctor, get our eyebrows done, making sure that our money is working for us and for where we want to be and for the next 3 to 4 generations, and having that as we see the momentum of supporting Black businesses and making sure that we are building wealth, that wealth is maintained. I think that that's also the tricky part too, that you can have one generation, like you said, who gets it, 2 generations that squander it. So it's nothing. And that's across every demographic, right? Just because the first generation worked really hard for it, it doesn't mean that the next will carry it on. So having a plan, and I think making sure that your kids are having the same talks too, like, we don't need that.
You have to give them the information.
Right.
Don't just tell them, but tell them why, you know. That's right. Just don't tell them to do something. Tell them why. Show them. Explain it to them. Sit them down. Let them sit to the table with you while you write out that budget. Yeah, definitely. Get them involved.
All right, y'all. Well, this has all been powered by the rock stars, David Pence, Allstate Insurance Team, best of the Coastal Empire. They are here to help you anytime, 961-9617. Kissy Pinkston, we love you from Fresh Off the Dock Seafood. Thank you as always. I told you guys now, you literally can call her up, 843-304-2055, Thursday through Sunday. She will have the best of seafood, you name it, across the Low Country and Savannah delivered right to you. Seafood Sundays every single Sunday over in Hilton Head, and they're hiring at 843-304-2055. Next week's show is going to be dedicated to the kids and supporting kids right here in Savannah through CASA. And so I cannot wait. I'm going to have a super duper rock star because CASA is working hard to raise money because there's so many kids who are in need in the system. So we'll hang out and talk about that next week. Thank you for tuning in. I do recognize again that we took on this show with so much going on at this moment. You are a powerful person and leader within the sphere that you're in, that you're watching this right now, within your home, within your money, within your family, within your values. May you use your power for good, because I think we all need that at this moment. Yay! All right, Tonice, say bye to everybody. We're going to sign off. Stand by. Happy New Year, y'all.